What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. So yet another one that came out on the 10th of September was the newest one from Inferi, Vile Genesis. This comes out on the Artisan Era Records. It's a band formed in 2006 in Nashville, Tennessee. This is their sixth full-length, and we actually reviewed their EP not too long ago, actually last year. And this is a kind of an interesting band. It's melodic death metal, but it's also tech death, and that's kind of like one of those things I don't see as much in terms of like tech death. Generally, tech death is more along the lines of like brutal or kind of prog.
Or slammy sometimes.
Yeah. But these guys embrace melodic death metal. This band also features members of A Loathing Requiem, Demon King, and Oubliette. So all these bands kind of have like a similar sound, and I believe all of them are on the Artisan Era. And well, all right, the Artisan Era, I will definitely say that label has a specific sound, kind of like Unique Leader. Unique Leader definitely has a certain type of band they go for. The Artisan Era definitely has a certain type they go for. More tech death and generally a lot of keyboards. And that is still very much Inferi, though I think this is an improvement over the EP.
Yes, I'll definitely say that. Opens right up with No Gods But Our Flesh. Kind of a longer intro, but it wasn't bad.
No.
Kicks into a giant atmospheric melodic death. I'm just gonna say it, Black Dahlia Murder.
There is Black Dahlia Murder all over the place. That is not a bad band to sound like at all. But I mean, in terms of the high vocal, low vocal flips, and some of the more riffy moments. Definitely more of the riffy moments when it comes down to like the more technical, almost neoclassical sort of noodling. More like Obscura, I would say, like kind of Obscura-ish.
Yeah, I got that vibe early on.
Or Gorod, maybe?
Yeah, Gorod, Fallujah. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Album is compressed as all get out, which I understand is a thing in tech death, but like this is almost too clean.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of grit on the guitars, but I feel like the guitars are a little thin. But yeah, in tech death, you kind of have to compress the album a bit because it's generally very busy, and in order to really hear all the different elements and all the different more technical flair in there,
it's gotta be kind of a uniformed.
Yeah, you have
presence.
to compress it.
Yep.
So I mean, that's kind of a wash there. But musicality, of course, this band definitely knows what they're doing.
They excel in musicianship. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, God, yeah.
The bassist is good, too. You guys need to let him out of the van more often.
There's some sections in here where the bass lines absolutely just stand out and rule. And standing out is kind of a thing on here because this is tech death. Generally, you are greeted to a myriad of different notes, noodles, transitions, just interesting breaks and shifts all throughout songs. So when you have songs that stand out, that I think is a real accomplishment in tech death in general, because generally you can get lost in all the noodling and technical play. This actually has some really cool standout songs in terms of flat out riffy moments and moments that hang on rather than just transition quickly.
Right.
Maelstrom Prison, I really think is a standout track in here.
Me too.
The first one that I said, hey, this one is a little bit riffier, and there's some distinctly awesome syncopated breakdowns on there that really just kind of drive home the heavier aspects of the sound, because sometimes it kind of loses a little bit of the sense of heavy when they're just doing all the noodling. I mean, granted, it's really cool, a very neoclassical play, and there isn't a lead on here I didn't like. They were all...
No, they're all really
good.
Very well done. A great mixture of both melodies and harmonies and... varying paces of speed and whatnot.
Fast, and also fast.
Also fast.
I mean, that is kind of generally the pace. But those moments, the melody really takes over, and you kind of lose a little bit of the heavy outside of maybe the vocals and the drums. When you get down to these big chuggy moments, then just flat out like, yeah, we're going to hammer this riff for a while laying on some cool melodies on top, it kind of brings back just like, the raw heaviness. Like they get kind of like a little bit more like along the lines of like Suffocation in moments, or Decapitated, except with Dimmu Borgir's keys, because there are a fair amount of keys on here, and sometimes they work. Most of the time, I'm not really a fan, and that's just me. I'm very picky about keys.
I am too. I have gripes most times about keys if they're not well done. And here's my thing with this band. It sounds like Christmas.
Yeah, it's kind of one setting.
Trans-Siberian Dahlia Murder.
Yeah. I mean, Vile Genesis, the title track, it wants to be ominous. It wants to be dark. Yep. And the riffs scream that, but the keys behind it kind of scream Christmas in Gotham and Batman Returns. Yep. And it's just not enough to really match up to the tone they're kind of going for.
But the riff in the lead in Vile Genesis, dude, the riff behind the lead is nasty. And there are some cool vocal cadences.
Oh, there's tons on every song.
Well, right.
He's doing like all sorts of crazy high lows, fast cadences, more slow deliberate ones. So again, you get, this band's entire wheelhouse when it comes down their sound. But sometimes there are situations where I think less is more. From Exile to Exaltation, I think this is one of the more straight ahead songs. Mm-hmm. It doesn't deviate much from the very kind of classic melodic death metal riffing, though a more technical approach. A little bit of like early In Flames, Hypocrisy, some At the Gates riffing in there. Yep. And it kind of just keeps this steady barrage going. Like it's not trying to do a lot of wild transitions. And that kind of made the song stand out because it just drove a riff home. Like it really kind of made it sink in. And when you get a technical band like this, there's this sort of want to change frequently.
Yep, and I think without those synths on this song, it probably would have been one of the heavier songs on the album.
Anytime I hear those synths in the background, I really wish they would kind of have like more of a dark horrorscape, or just not be there at all, or replace that with another guitar line and sort of thicken up the guitars. But they're there, and again, sometimes they do work, sometimes they get the big kind of gothic orchestral feeling to them. Heirs of the Descent, the last track, actually has some good use of synth.
I really like that track. I think that's probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best tracks on this album. First of all, it's longer.
Yeah.
Actually, all these songs are longer. They're all sitting about 4.5, 5 minutes. This one's Heirs of Descent's almost 7. So, and I wondered what they were going to do with 7 minutes. And a thing that appears in this album versus some of their other ones is there's some prog influence at times. It appears in 2 or 3 songs. Most definitely it's in Heirs of the Descent.
Yeah.
And overall, that song sounds darker.
Yes.
Like the synth that they choose now has a different feel to it, and it just sounds kind of ominous and eerie and ambient.
It's where the atmosphere kind of lines up. I mean, because if you're looking at this album cover, it's creepy. That is a horrible looking alien world, and I don't want to go there. But those synths really captured sort of a horror feel rather than just like Nightmare Before Christmas. Sorry. But this one, it really works. And this and Carving Thine Kingdom both labor something that is kind of missing on here: groove.
Yes.
Really solid, headbangable groove.
Yep.
Lots of cool syncopated chugs. And that's kind of an issue on here, because this album does not like to slow down.
No. And it wasn't until we got to Carving Thine Kingdom, one of the first things I wrote was, just slow down, just please, just a little bit. And on the last 2 songs, they do slow down a little bit.
I mean, at least, the top half of the drummer does. The bottom half is, nope,
He's got to run.
He's got to go.
Got to go.
He's got to go. He's running from something.
Got to go there very quickly.
But it isn't though it's bad. Like, actually, I don't think any of these songs are bad.
No.
There's just sort of an issue here of making them stand out against the other tracks that are doing a lot of the same thing. Because you're getting wild technical play on every song. You're getting blazing neoclassical melodic solos on all of them. Yep. You're getting wild vocals on all of them. And you're getting blast beat upon blast beat upon blast beat on all of them.
Right.
It's just tricky making them stand out. And I think the songs that were a little bit riffier were the ones that stood out to us.
Noodles are great.
They are.
They're great. But I don't want them to be the only course of the meal.
Yeah.
I want some bread, maybe meat of some sort.
Yeah, this is like a meal plan of mostly noodles, but at least in the last 2 tracks you get like steak. Yeah. Because those last 2 tracks give you something that isn't necessarily the big dynamic on here, and when it hits hard. And there's some really great hooks on there. Great atmosphere, too. I like how they lead in. Even the song before that, Mesmeric Horror, actually has a really cool, clean guitar intro that has its own sort of atmosphere to it. Now, of course, the keys come out to play because they're always invited out. But I like the fact that they kind of led in that one a little bit differently than some of the other ones, because a lot of these will just take off, or there'll be like a synth intro and then they'll take off.
Straight to the face, right. And that was a gripe we had, because they had a chance to do it in this song. And Mesmeric Horror, most of all, they had a chance to kind of slow their roll a little bit before they exploded into, Deep Space Nine. But they didn't.
No, I mean, at this point, it was 5 tracks of an unrelenting pace, which, granted, I like that. But here's the thing, like, each one of these songs will have multiple different sections in it. And not all of them feel super necessary. Like,
right.
One section will transition to another one, then abruptly to another one, and then to an entirely different one that plays maybe a little bit longer. And you don't get a lot of repeated sections. When they do happen, generally I really love that because they're generally repeating something really good.
Right.
But it came down to the point where if you actually removed some of these extra sections, would it hurt the song?
Right, because we're talking like a couple of these songs in the beginning, I'd say probably like Simian Hive. Simian Hive had probably 40 transitions in it, which is cool. That's awesome that you can do that. But could you shave off maybe 10 of those and see what happens? Because I think you could structure a way cooler song.
This is, I think, more for people who look for technical precision, strange musicality. Not necessarily always about songwriting and delivering hooks. Now, granted, they're there, but they're kind of buried in a ton of different technical elements and such, which again are cool, but I look for something a little bit more straightforward, and I kind of appreciated the spots where they were a little bit more straightforward.
Me too. It was just a nice kind of reprieve from Bullet Train.
Yeah, because this is, not necessarily the most challenging list that I've ever had, because there's plenty of other ones that I think are just even more nuts than this, but it can become difficult to distinguish songs, and that's kind of an issue here.
Right, and that's where, I kind of have to draw the line with things. If the noodles and technical play overtake the song, what do you really have? I need something to be able to latch on to and, go back and go, okay, this track, Maelstrom Prison, that was an awesome track. I'd like to be able to pick tracks out instead of have to really take them apart to figure it out.
But here's the thing, there wasn't a track I didn't enjoy on here. So it's sort of an odd one because I enjoyed pretty much this entire album. It kind of ran through, but it kind of ran through as, I don't know, maybe less songs that are actually on here because it felt like some songs really just ran together. But overall, though, I do see this as an improvement, and I hear more distinct songwriting on here, and that is going to keep me coming back to this band.
Yep.
So overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I enjoyed this. Again, the blaze of technicality can kind of take away from it, but the songs that stood out for really good reasons. And I really enjoyed the just, more straightforward songwriting, but they still threw out all the cool technical play. Again, the lead work on here is absolutely marvelous.
Brilliant.
Vocals are killer. The drum work, that man is scary fast sometimes. But
way to go.
All of it worked together as a cool album. It's just I need some individual songs there to stand out a little bit more. I got some. I'd like more. But overall, good album. Go and check it out.
I'm also going to give it 3.5, and I agree it's definitely an improvement from the EP. You've heard me say it about deathcore. There was a time when I was big into deathcore. There was also a time when I was big into tech death. And, sometimes I really liked listening to overly chaotic things that I didn't understand because that was the challenge. And this band is incredible. They're incredible musicians. Overall, maybe the band needs to just slow down a tad, maybe at times. Again, so I can differentiate between these songs.
Yeah.
Much like Nick said, though, I don't have a problem with any song on this record. It was grossly entertaining. I didn't stop banging my head the whole time. And again, like he said, the songs that stood out stood out for really, really good reasons. And it's nice to be able to latch on to some things, because normally in tech death, it's hard to latch on to things. Anyway, this was also good, so go and check it out.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there will be a link below. And we also have a giveaway going on, which there is a link below for that. All you have to do is comment on that video on the link, and you were entered in our giveaway to win a stack of 8 CDs that also includes the new Cannibal Corpse with the extra naughty album cover. So naughty. Don't show your parents.
And thank you, by the way, for all of our subscribers so far. We're sitting, what, at like 70...
Almost 71?
Almost 7,100, and it feels like we just hit 7,000. Actually, we did. Less than a week ago, we just hit 7,000. Thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
It's been a wild ride, and it will continue to be wild. And possibly stupid.
We also still have shirts available. That's right, I said shirts. If you would like a Thralls of Metal shirt, please hit us up at thrallsofmetal@gmail.com and put in the subject line shirts, and we will get back to you and get you a shirt. We just sent out 2 today, so
Woo!
Yay.
So with that, we'd like to thank you very much once again, and we will catch you later.